Hello, and welcome to Mean Reviews, No Stars Given, the show where indie authors and filmmakers agree to have their work reviewed, knowing full well that they won't receive even 1 star. Now that's bravery, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight's episode of Mean Reviews has several firsts. First time a scheduled guest co host had to cancel, first last minute substitution guest co host, and first returning guest co host. He really saved us this week. So let's welcome back my guest co host for tonight, hero and author, David Green.
Hello, it is hero first. Just always remember that.
And I want to just give all your fangirls a moment to stop cheering and recover themselves before we move on with the show,
Yeah.
because I stumbled on this Facebook group and the ladies are just going gaga over you. It was disgusting.
Oh, really? I'm glad that I'm not a part of this group.
You are.
I am.
Oh yeah, it was that group you told me to join, which now I get it. You just wanted me to see that. But before we get right into the first review, just a quick note about comments. We welcome each and every one, but we'll only be looking at them after we review each book, so a little context would be extremely helpful at that point. So thank you. Our first book to review is, if I can get the cover up, our first book to review is Legacy of Dragons, The Forgotten King, Eldros Legacy Book 6 by Mark Stallings. Whew, that was a lot. Here's a quick synopsis. A former king, Aura, who is immortal, abdicated his throne long ago and now travels incognito as part of a small band of adventurers. The current king, his descendant, is murdered, and Aura wants to find out who did it. Meanwhile, an invasion starts, secretly and quite small. Does it all tie together? It seems so, but we'll find out more in the next book. Also, this book is part of the Eldros Legacy, which is a shared world with a bunch of authors writing in it. This is the 6th book, but you don't actually need to read the other 5 first. I have, and they are all related, and they share the world, but things are happening on like 4 different continents, so the characters in this book and their story are quite separate. Um, but let's get right to the things we like. I like composting. Here's a picture of just some of my compost piles, and most of them are a lot bigger now than they are when I took this picture. I have I have 14 chickens and 2 goats, and they all provide a lot of organic material for the compost piles. I want to take this opportunity to publicly say thank you to my animals for all of their donated poop. Not the dog and the cat. Their poop is useless so far. But
Is that really your compost?
yeah,
Is that
yeah, that
really?
was some of it, not all of it. I'm okay. I'm expanding my garden next year by about 6-fold, and so those piles are up by um, the goat pen. You can see the fence is where my goats live. Um, but now it'll be down in the garden, down the hill. Uh, anyway, I do want to get serious for a moment.
Really?
The Earth loses topsoil every day, about 1% a year. In the United States, we lose it more quickly than the world average because we're number one, because we're awesome. So everybody should be composting. I currently have 7 compost piles. Some have chicken poop in it, and that takes 6 months to decompose enough that it won't destroy whatever plant you put it on. And the others have, or some of the others have goat poop, which is cool enough to use right away, although I go ahead and let it decompose so that I'm not putting poop directly on the food I'm growing. And then I have 2 piles with both chicken poop and goat poop, which I refer to as my double poop compost. And I've
Right.
named it after my father in his honor, Grandpa Brown's double poop compost. If it's not
Oh,
double poop, it's not Grandpa Brown's.
I thought you were going to say that your grandpa was called Double Poop, which I was like, that's a really unusual name.
I named the compost after him, Dennis Double Poop Brown. I hope he doesn't watch this show now. But I do think that when the double poop compost is ready, it will be amazing. So, in the Eldros Legacy world, No one seems to be concerned about topsoil erosion or composting. I fear that they are making the same mistakes that we have here on Earth. In the hopes
Right.
of raising topsoil and compost awareness on their world, I must, with great sadness, award Legacy of Dragons, The Forgotten King, Eldros Legacy Book 6 by Mark Stallings, absolutely no piles of decomposing excrement and other organic materials. That's right.
Mhm.
0 shit piles for The Forgotten King. What about
Yeah.
you, David? Well, Mr. Green, I'm sorry. What do
You
you
can call me whatever you like, Ron. You usually do, and I usually don't complain. So why start now? So I was greatly confused coming into this book. When I was the 6th in the series, and you better believe that I read all 5 of them before I read this one. You have to believe this. It's the truth. So what I really like is forgetting about monarchy in general, being a proud Irish person.
That makes sense.
Yes, because monarchy is an outdated. I think we can all agree monarchy is an outdated concept, which might be a bit of a hot potato at the moment, seeing as what has been going on in England for the last little while. But I'm just going to say it. I don't care. It's outdated.
Well,
And
don't worry. It's not a hot potato here in the United States.
you agree? You guys were well ahead of the curve on that one.
Yeah, we've
right?
been thinking that for centuries.
Exactly. It's why Irish people and American people get on so well. Because like, what's going on about all these kings and queens, right? So that this book was called The Forgotten King. I appreciated that, but the king was not as forgotten as advertised, and there was quite a lot of kinging and monarchy involved. So unfortunately, I would have to give this too many crowns out of a kingly crown, which equates to 0 in my score.
So you must have been happy when the one king got murdered.
Yeah, that was good. I like that. I mean, any kings getting murdered is wonderful in my book.
Ugh.
More kings murdered, please. But then the thing is with this thing with monarchy is when a king is murdered, they usually replace them with another king, which is like it's just murder. Do what the French did, kill them, and then just move on. It's the only thing the French got right.
The show's gotten real political. All right, let's move on to what we don't like. I don't like old people, and by that I mean even older than me, way older. They're just gross. Look at this guy, all collapsed face and saggy skin.
That is you.
Me in the future. And Aura, the Forgotten King the book is named after, is like 1,000 years old. I prefer young people, especially females. Why couldn't this book have been about a young princess, like maybe 25, and really hot? That sounds a lot more like my kind of thing. And she could be real friendly, too. I mean, like super friendly, but only with other young, hot people. I don't go for that old guy, young woman porn. It's too depressing because it was ruined for me when I was about 15 years old. I ran away and I was hitchhiking across a few nearby states. Excuse me. And I got picked up by a young man and what I assumed mistakenly was his grandmother. They were in an old beat up Volkswagen Bug, and I was in the back seat, which, if you've ever been in one of those, means you are almost in the front seat. I mean, your head is kind of right there. Anyway, the old lady did not have all of her teeth, and some of the ones that she did retain were black. So when they started making out as he drove along the highway right in front of my face, and with far too much open mouthed gusto, it upset my stomach to the point that I had them let me out right away. And that ruined the movie Harold and Maude for me ever since. Because in Harold and Maude, it's beautiful. And in real life, it is fucking gross. I mean, just gross. Anyway, that means I give the Forgotten King 0 attractive nubile protagonists out of 1, or maybe 2. A helpful suggestion for the sequel. David, what don't you like?
I have questions, many questions about what you've just said, Rob.
Oh, please share.
Many questions. But the first one that I'd like to ask is when you said that the younger protagonist, the young attractive, has to be nice. Could she be mean as well? Because I think you would like that, Ron. I think you would like a
That
bit
would
of a
be fine.
yes.
Nice was just code word for, promiscuous. But she could be
Right.
meanly promiscuous. Yeah, that'd be great.
Exactly. Exactly. That's all my questions, really. The rest of it I
Oh,
completely agree
I
with.
thought it was going to be about the two people making out in front of me. Oh my God. One
Well, the
of
thing
my
is,
most unpleasant and clearest memories.
the only thing about that is I swore you to secrecy. And now you've told everyone, and I'm very disappointed, but I'm going to be
Oh,
professional and just move on about it.
oh,
Yeah.
good for you. So what
Thank
do
you.
you not like?
Well, what I really don't like is the skill and creativity to create such longevity and sustain a series for 6 books. But then I've been told that it's actually goes on for 9 books, which I just think is frankly insulting to
The
everyone.
goal, as I understand it, is like 20 some books.
That's
Yeah.
just
They were trying to
too,
do one a month every month. One would come out.
yeah.
Yeah, so that would have been awesome.
That's just
So far, I've
too high of a level of skill for anyone to be get
well,
behind. Frankly.
it's distributed amongst many authors, so they each
Yeah.
just have so much skill. I think it's all right. But, let's move on to the things we could talk about that we liked without spoiling the plot. David, would you care to go first? All right,
For
we're
which
we're running out of time on this. We're already almost halfway through the show. I'm just going to run through
one?
mine real quick.
You go for it.
Thank you. All right, I love fantasy novels, and this was
Mhm.
definitely one of those. There's goblins, elves, swords, magic. That was all good. Lots of classic fantasy stuff. I also like fighting and battles, which there was plenty of that sort of thing. And the
Mhm.
author clearly knows what he's talking about when it comes to swordplay, although he didn't make it boring by teaching me all about it, which is lucky because I hate learning stuff.
Right.
Um, so now comes the actual awarding of less than a full star to the book. I give Legacy of Dragons, The Forgotten King, Eldros Legacy Book 6 by Mark Stallings, 2/3 of a star. It's a fantasy novel, so that really helped. But the
Mhm.
lack of compost or concern about eroding topsoil brought the rating way down. And then not having a hot young female protagonist was bad enough, but to make it 1,000-year-old man, ridiculous and off-putting. So, David, what portion of a star do you give it?
I think I would have to give it 7/8 of a star
Wow.
because, yeah, because I did like the killing of kings and the title
Sure.
forgetting of kings, but then I feel like I was hoodwinked into this tale, this epic fantasy tale of sweeping proportions. So 7/8 of a star for me.
Perfect. I appreciate it. Let's look at the comments. If I can get there. All right. Oh, there's a zillion of them. All right. First of all, a lot of people said hello, so hello back to everybody.
Hello.
Now one person said that the cover of The Forgotten King was very cool, and I did like that. And then out of pity, I said I like the cover for Bringing Home the Rain too because I didn't want Bob to feel bad.
Right.
Sadly, it didn't work. Bob always feels bad.
Oh, poor Bob.
Some more some more people showing up saying hello. And then I said, I'll see you guys later. I have to go actually do the show. And Bob, the author of the second book we're going to review, said, that's just Ron speak for quickly go check on my garden, which was not true. I was out there today a lot. Anyway, let's see the. Oh. Okay, I'm confused here.
Oh,
Dreamy
no.
eyes. Is that about you? Is
Well, it could be about
is
you,
Nick
actually.
one of your fan? Don't
Let's say it's
don't
about you.
don't don't condescend to me, you son of a bitch. Oh, that is so hurtful. Ugh.
I wasn't. I think you're a handsome blade. Oh, man.
Oh my lord. Oh no, this one took it even further. Nikki swooned. Oh God, it is you. It's the beard. Oh no, I don't. the accent.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, now this is a very important comment. If I grow a beard, no one would say that I need a beard because it's not very impressive at all. And when I was younger, I looked well. When I got with my first wife, I was 21, but I looked like I was 12, and she's like, "I feel like a pedophile when we go around." And so I grew a goatee and a mustache, which was really as much as I could do.
That's a bold choice. I like it.
And then I looked like a 12-year-old with a goatee. So anyway, oh my God, these women are just all over you. Oh, and then this one's a liar, and his brain. Thanks, Nikki, but we know him, so that's not going to work.
Yeah, that's true.
I feel like Bob is sort of trying to kiss ass before his book gets reviewed. But it is true, I only have so much energy.
True.
Oh no. A beard.
You know, it's one of those weird things that you don't know until you try it, if you could grow a beard or not. It's one of those things that's just like, some people can and some people can't. And
yeah, I can't. Yeah. I would not be able to be on the beard show with you and Bob. I do need an intervention. Everything is compost, Nick.
That's what I thought. It kind of looks like, you know, one of those when you see those like shows, the crime shows, and they have those like those farms, they have bodies decomposing.
Body farms, yeah.
Body farms. Yeah, it looks kind of like one of those.
It does. Now, I do sample the compost to see if it's ready, not by eating it, although one of our dog, Misty, does. That's the other reason I'm moving everything back into the garden, is because then I can fence it off and she'll stop eating the compost, which is disturbing. But dogs are like that. Ooh. Beards, grits, bobs. That's a great idea. That's mine now.
Can you do a British accent?
Anybody can do one. You didn't say, can I do a good one? I can do like 7 different ones. They're just all equally bad.
Can you do a passable British accent?
Depends on how drunk I am.
How drunk are you?
Not at all right now, because of the stupid show. I mean, because of this fine show. That's not true. I was on This Week in Indies this weekend, as was David, and I didn't say anything about gardening the entire show. The host had to bring it up at the end. So,
that's true. That is true. You were drunk, though, as well. And it was first thing in the morning.
I wish, because my life is awful. But for some reason, just having the alcohol is reassuring to me, even though I don't drink it very often.
I have some right here. It's nice.
I know I should drink more. All right. We're running way over on this. There's just a lot of, although this one is important. Topsoil is sexy.
There you go. There you go. Nikki is correct.
Wait, there are a lot of them here. All right. We're going to get back to the actual show now. And we'll come back and look at comments again before the end of the show. But we need to get to know David a tiny bit better. And I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna make him big. So tell us about your books and stuff.
You're going to make me big. Oh, Jesus. So my books and stuff. So I have 2 series. I have an epic fantasy series called Empire of Ruin, which is 2 books so far, 2 books of 4. The second one just came out this summer. And it probably is the best book that I'd written up to that point, which is always nice. So that's In Solitude, Shadow, and Path of War. They're both, really rip-roaring kind of adventure stories with quite a lot of darkness, really great female protagonists and lots of shades of grey. And then I have a urban fantasy series called Hell and Haven, which is currently kind of just 1 book because it's 2 books in one as a special edition called The Devil Walks in Blood. And I think that might be appearing pretty soon on a show not too far away from us. And the sequel for that one is coming out at some point in the future. It's called One Life Left. And that is now the best book that I've written, but it's not out yet. So that is me. I am in Galway, in Ireland, and I am from Manchester.
A tiny bit better, I said. I just like anyway. I've read all your books. Well, the first 3, I guess. And we're going to review the The Devil Walks in Blood, so I can't speak to that one. But the other two I enjoyed very much.
Thank you. Thank you
And
very much.
I didn't notice that the second one, A Path to War, it was markedly better than the first one, like you had said. So either I thought the first one was better than you thought it was, or I thought the second one was worse than you thought it was. But I'm not positive. I'd need to go back and read them again, and I'm pretty busy. So
That's fine.
as a matter of fact,
If you think both of them are okay, I will take it. That's fine.
I had to go back and reread both of the books from today because I had read them so long ago and then read so many books. But let's move on to the second one. Oh, I was supposed to talk about me. I'm going to make me big. This is great. It's going awesome. Oh, I'm Ron L Lahr. I cook, I bake, I garden, obviously. I also write. I write epic fantasy, like the Cathaldi Chronicles. That's a 3-book series so far. And then I also write humorous science fiction, like You Get What You Steal, which I think is like the best title of all time. I also write completely serious self-help books about relationships, like You're as Stupid as You Are Fat, How to Talk to Women. And all of my books are available on the Amazon. All right, now we will do the next book. Book 2 tonight is Bringing Home the Rain, The Redemption of Howard Marsh 1, the Jubal County Saga, because both books tonight just have a ridiculous amount of stuff for me to say the title. This book is by Bob Magoo. I want to thank Bob. I want to thank Mr. Magoo for sending me a copy of his book, even though I'm sorry that he was so busy he couldn't sign it or write a funny note with one of those puns he loves so much, or even just wish me a nice day. He's recently gotten engaged. Congratulations to him. So I guess he doesn't have time for new friends or maybe even acquaintances. I'm not sure what we are. But either way, I hope someday he frees up the 10 seconds or so that it would have taken to make the effort so that he can be considerate to someone else. Fingers crossed. Okay. I will also provide the synopsis for this book since, you were a last minute fill in and I felt bad about assigning you to synopsis. So, this book is about Howard Marsh, a young, meth addict and magician, which is referred to as a methgician, which I like very much. He also doesn't have all of his teeth, which there's a lot of running themes this evening. He doesn't have all of his teeth, but he does have 2 separate adventures in this book. He kind of helps people out and fights dark forces, not super tough ones, because he is a drug addict. But the 2 adventures are nice, although I feel like the book is more about getting to know Mr. Marsh, his powers, his family, his awful deep South community, his friends and acquaintances. It's a very colorful and well-developed world. The last thing I will share about the book is that he lives in a storage unit, which I enjoyed because, along with everything else about Howard Marsh, it made me feel a lot better about myself. The book was a real pick-me-up. So, we're going to jump right into our likes. I like my 1979 Datsun 280ZX. That's a picture of her. Her name is Lodalina. And really, I don't just like or love Lodalina. I like classic cars, most classic cars. I like to buy them. I like to fix them up. I like to drive them around and then keep them forever. My motto is, cars are for buying, not for selling. In Bringing Home the Rain, they do have some classic cars, such as a Camaro, but it is just left to rot. Automobiles in general are usually not very nice unless the dreaded law enforcement owns them. And then these not nice cars are treated quite poorly. Nobody fixes them up or loves them. The protagonist doesn't even own a car, if you can imagine that. So I know this takes place in the Deep South, and that is not like the real America that politicians are always talking about, but it is still technically part of the United States. It's true. I looked it up. And here in the good old US of A, we're supposed to have a love affair with cars. So that's my biggest problem with what is otherwise a very original novel with an absolutely unique protagonist. So I get Bringing Home the Rain, 0 cool cars, out of literally hundreds of millions. What did you like, David?
Well, there's a couple of things that I liked. I liked how I felt like the main character in this book and my main character in my urban fantasy would get on quite well with each other in a kind of strange kind of way. I think it would be quite a nice dynamic. So I liked that quite a bit. I also like meth.
Pardon me.
Yeah, it's not a laughing matter, Ron. It's a serious subject. I enjoy cooking meth. I enjoy Breaking Bad and all of its various spin-offs. I enjoy using meth as well.
Sure.
And yeah, I just enjoy the whole culture about. I actually feel like there should be more properties where the main characters are meth heads. I think
More
the world
meth,
would be a better place for it.
more meth-based entertainment. That makes
Yeah,
sense.
definitely. Because it's, if anything, meth is entertaining. Isn't that what they always say, Ron? That's what you say.
I don't know. I
You
can't
send
say I remember hearing
send
it,
me,
but
you
that may
send me
be.
that exact message at about 4 o'clock in the morning every
That,
single night.
huh. Well, maybe you don't retain when you're off of it what you do when you're on it.
I don't
So,
know.
all right, we're going to move on to. Oh God, we're running behind. We're going to move on to things we don't like, and I don't like police being the bad guys because don't we have enough of that in real life? Here's the police from the TV show and movie Reno 911. Now, they may be incompetent, but they mean well, and that's how I like to think of police. Well-meaning. That's comforting. I don't like to think that the people we pay to have guns and protect us aren't good guys, but apparently police and federal agents are just awful in the Deep South. I mean, except for their clothes, their cars, and their hygiene, they are the worst. That or the author's just jumping on the anti-police bandwagon due to all the police murdering people in the news. But I looked it up, and for every person the police murder in the United States, there are well over a dozen people that they do not murder. This book ignores all of that and just seems to want to fan the flames of hatred towards our benevolent guardians. For shame. And for that, I award Bringing Home the Rain 0 out of 8 pairs of Lieutenant Dangle's short shorts. But I do want to say they aren't the bad guys, the ultimate bad guys in the book. They're just every time you deal with them, they're bad. So, but they're not the bad guys. Those are that's more magic stuff. But what do you not like?
Well, I really don't like meth users, which is really conflicted, really conflicted, seeing as I do love the
Confusing.
meth. Yeah, so
I guess you want all the meth for yourself.
I do. Yeah, I do, and I like to have as many teeth as I can possibly have as well. Which is, as being a European, that's all right. I'm already up against it being European.
Oh, we do. We have TVs here.
Exactly right. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, there's
All right.
a very realistic portrayal of a meth user, which is quite harrowing.
Right.
But
All
so
right.
for that, I would have to give 7 teeth out of 32.
Oh, nice. All right. We're going to move on to things we can talk about that we liked without spoiling the plot. I like the fact that the author was able to make me care about and root for a drug addict hero. That was very impressive. I would not want to meet him or spend any time around him, particularly because of his hygiene habits and my slight germophobia. But I was rooting for him from a safe distance, although I did wear a mask while reading the book just to be safe.
Right.
I also liked feeling better about myself and my life by comparison to the vast majority of the characters in this book. I've been having a bit of a rough go of it lately for over a year, really, and particularly this week. So I really needed that, and it turns out there's nothing better for improving my awful mood than realizing there are gross, smelly poor people who have it much worse than I do. So thank you to the author, Bob Magoo, for that. And finally, I enjoyed the fact that hard drugs empower the magician's magic, making him more formidable. For too long, there haven't been good reasons beyond having fun for people to take the real dangerous heavy drugs. Hopefully, plenty of children will read this book and the rest of the series and then give these drugs a good try to see if it makes them able to do magic. I suspect it will if they just consume them often enough and in ever increasing quantities. Good luck, kids. David, did you have anything you want to talk about? Oh, it doesn't matter because we're out of time.
We're out of time. I just want to echo everything that you said, and I agree.
Oh, good. All right. Now it's time for the ratings. I give Bringing Home the Rain, The Redemption of Howard Marsh 1, The Jubal County Saga by Bob Magoo, 4/7 of a star for its shoddy treatment of both automobiles and our friends the police. David?
I will give it 36 ounces out of 72 of a star.
Ooh, wow, that was confusing. All right, we're going to look at the comments super quick to see if there's any that aren't about you and how dreamy you are.
That's all gone. They've gone out. They've got over that so far. It's good. We'll move past.
Oh, well, here's a serious comment.
Very nice.
I mean, it's about you, so I'm going to get rid of it. Oh my God! What does she owe you money? What is happening there? Ugh, and see, I told you they're girls.
Yeah, Nick is good.
Here's something we should look at for a few minutes. Yeah, that's what everybody says. And whoever this person is, I'm a big fan of this.
It's Han Solo. Do you not know?
The cover is cool.
The cover is really good. Yeah.
Oh boy, this is okay. So we're just gonna have a long show. So, oh good, that would be nice.
Oh. Why don't we just both make the same noise then? It's not the first time.
Excuse me. All right. So now I got lost. Oh, okay. Well, here's a good lesson.
There we go.
So yeah, this show's educational.
The pros and cons of meth in one message.
Boy, there are a lot of comments. It turns out I can't read as fast as I thought, but we are late anyway, so we're already over the time. I'm just gonna play the wrap up, my weekly wrap up. Here you go. Thank you for watching Mean Reviews, No Stars Given. Please like this show and subscribe to the Go Indie Now channel. I'd also like to thank
David Green again
for being today's guest co-host. You were magnificent. Everyone should buy your stuff. I was truly lucky to have you with me here on the show. We should totally hang out sometime because we are very much actual, in real life friends. I also need to thank the 2 writers or filmmakers who agreed to let us review their book or movie. You are very trusting, and I appreciate that. Even though their stuff is not to my liking, as evidenced by the fact that they received not even 1 star from me, I recommend that you purchase their work, even if it's just out of pity. So thank you.
For Bringing Home the Rain, The Redemption of Howard Marsh, Book 1 by Bob Magoo.
And also
for Legacy of Dragons, The Forgotten King, Eldros Legacy Book 6 by Mark Stallings.
You 2 are the best. If you would like to have your book or film reviewed on this show, please email me at ronlodellar@gmail.com. That's almost it. In fact, there's only one thing left to say, but it's an important thing. So remember,
it's always time to go indie now.